So we talked about the security in a very high level point of view, just for your understanding in a layman terms. Okay, so everything that we see or in the application, basically the application access itself, any person would get based on the objective, whether that particular person is supposed to have the access or not. Okay, basically whether he's an employee. First of all, the question is whether he's an employee of the business, and the second thing is whether that particular person needs an access to the ERP application, whether in order to carry out his work or activities in the ERP. So based on that, first of all, what we discussed yesterday was there are certain user IDs created, and there are certain accesses that are provided. Now, how those accesses are provided, what are the basic underlying concepts around it, that first of all we will understand in depth, in detail first, and then we will move into the application to understand how those things are created in the application, basically to carry out the security related objective of the business in the ERP. All right. So with respect to that, today we will understand the security. Basically, yesterday we did the landing page icons and navigation and all those things we understood. Okay, now today we will go in depth into the security aspects. Now, the basic questions. All right, the basic question that needs to be answered with any kind of accesses that is provided. These are the three basic questions that are asked. Who needs to be provided the access, right? Who all are the people who need to be provided the access? That is the first question. And with respect to that, what is the answer to that particular question? The user IDs and password to the application environment. So that is the first question asked. Any person, any random person will never be given access to the ERP. That is very clear, and that is logical as well, right? So that is where the who question is being answered. So the employees of the business, the contractors of the business, okay, or the outsourced workers of the business who are supposed to work on the ERP to carry out their task. Those are the people whom for whom the user IDs, okay, for whom the user ID will be created, okay, and to whom the credentials will be provided. First of all, the access of the instance will be provided, the user ID will be provided, and the password will be provided. Okay, so that is the who part. Now, what is the now? See, first we will complete the overview, or basically the context around the security aspect. First, we will cover that, and then we will move on to the application to see how the creation of user and all those other aspects can be done. Okay, so who is getting answered by the by the who all are the people, or who all are the users that need to be provided with the respective user ID and password accesses so they can log into the application. Okay, now what kind of access is to be provided? Okay, that is the second question that comes from the security administration point of view. Okay, what all are the accesses that not need to be provided? So with that, the answer that gets answered, I mean the answer for that particular question is, what are the different application, the different tasks and functions that the particular user to whom the access would be provided needs to work on. Okay, what are the different application, or what are the different tasks that he need to carry out, based on which the application access should be provided. So that is where the second question of what access needs to be provided comes into picture. Okay, just by giving a user ID, you don't actually provide access to the user. So it will be like a blank or like a just a login that has been provided just by providing the user ID and password. But then again, what are the tasks that he needs to perform? With respect to that, he needs to be given access to certain application and the underlying tasks and activities that he needs to perform in the ERP. So that access also needs to be provided, and that is where the second question of what comes into picture. Okay, and the third question is which data. Okay, which kind of data needs does the person need to have an access to? Okay, so that is what the third question has to be answered. Okay, so basically, what is that third question? The answer to that third question is accounts payable people, okay, who are working in the accounts payable department needs to have access to those invoices related to vendors and vendor related invoices and vendor related payments only. Okay, so that is where the answer of which data, which kind of data needs to be accessed, or should be available for the person to use. That is where the third question comes up. Okay, a person or an employee from the general ledger department, okay, general accounting department, you can say, okay, should not have access to the invoices. Okay, he should have only the access to the books of accounts, or the ledger, basically where all the accounting data is entered. Okay, so therefore the access will be restricted for the ledger, or we call it as the books of accounts. Okay, for the general accounting person. But on the other hand, the AP person will have only access to what? The AP, the vendor related invoices and vendor related payments. Similarly, the accounts receivable department employees will have access to what kind of data? The customer related invoices, customer master, and similarly customer related receipts and all. Okay, so that is what the third question is being answered by which data. So these are the three questions that need to be taken into consideration before any kind of access, okay, can be provided to a to any employee, or any contractors or third parties who are supposed to have the access of the application. These are the three questions. Now, in this regard, who I mentioned, right? Who means the user ID and the credentials. What basically is all about the application access. Okay, application and the function under it, the access to that. That is what is governed by what. Now, in order to govern that aspect of the security, what aspect? There is something called a role-based security model. Okay, now that is where we will understand further in detail regarding this particular second layer. Okay, what are the components that govern that kind of access in the ERP application for governing what is the type of application, or what is the different tasks or functions that the particular employee or user needs to have access to. Okay, so that is what is governed by a role-based security model. Okay, now what is a role-based security model? Basically, there are specific roles created, okay, in the Oracle ERP, okay, or can also be created. Custom roles also can be created in the ERP, which in turn will give the access, okay, will give the access of the application, and then based on the access of the application, the underlying tasks or functions that can be provided. Okay, so what was the example of the task or function? So first of all, yesterday we saw in the navigator, right? There was a general accounting, general accounting work area. Okay, so that general accounting work area gives access to, first of all, what? The general ledger application. Okay, and then under that you saw, right, there were certain tasks that you could perform, like the create journal task, or manage journal task. Okay, these are the tasks which we saw yesterday in the navigation. So those are called the tasks that can be performed, or the functions that can be performed. Now, that access, okay, basically in order to navigate to those areas, or those application parts, and also be able to perform those kind of tasks, basically is governed by something called a role, or a job role. Okay, so there is a particular job role that is assigned to those users who are supposed to perform those tasks. Okay, so that is why we call it in the Fusion Security Administration it to be a role-based security model. Okay, so Oracle Fusion Applications uses a role-based access control security model. Okay, users, the who part, okay, are assigned roles through which they gain access to functions and data within the application. Okay, within each of the application, general ledger application, accounts payable application, accounts receivable application, for all of them, there are specific roles that are defined by Oracle, okay, which are called job roles. Okay, and when these users who are supposed to perform the activities, or perform the tasks in the organization, depending upon the function or department that they are in, okay, they are assigned the roles. In turn, these roles give access to the functions and data within the application. Okay, all kinds of tasks that can be performed, like the create account, create journal, that is a function. Okay, or under it, you will be having sub actions that can be performed. Okay, so all these are basically the functions that can be performed. How? Based on the role access that is provided to the users. Okay, all of the user roles are active concurrently. These are just the features mentioned. Users do not have to select the role when they sign in. Now, these 2 points are actually mentioned as a feature based on the comparison that is being done with the on-premise technology. Okay, so people who have worked earlier in the e-business suite, the on-premise technology was called as e-business suite, which was prior to Fusion. Okay, so people who have worked on that, they will understand these 2 points. Okay, but people who are new to this Oracle Fusion or the entire Oracle ERP itself, for them these 2 points are irrelevant. Okay, all of the user roles are active concurrently, or users do not have to select a role when they sign in. Okay, for them it is irrelevant because they don't know what was there in the prior version. Okay, so basically to say, in the e-business suite or the on-premise model, you had to switch something called a switch responsibility. If you had to navigate from one application to another application, okay, from let's say general ledger to the accounts payable, then you would have to switch the responsibility. There was something called switch responsibility function that had to be done. But in case of a fusion, basically that switch responsibility thing is not to be done directly. You will have in the navigator the respective work areas, like the general accounting work area or the payables work area, and then you can simply navigate to the respective workbenches. Okay, so that is what this particular thing is all about, all these 2 features that have been listed. Okay, now we will understand the role based security model with an example. Okay, so there is a employee, okay, which whose name is Christopher, let's say. Okay, and that particular employee is a person from the general accounting department. Okay, so general accounting means basically the general finance department, you can say. Okay, who are supposed to maintain all the accounting data, do the management reporting with respect to the financial statements and everything. Okay, so they are the people who are in the general accounting department. Okay, so that particular employee, Christopher, okay, has to work on the aspects related to what? Related to the general accounting tasks. Now, therefore, he needs to have access to what? The ERP application. So, first of all, a user ID with the name of Christopher will be created in the application by the IT security person. Okay, so IT security or IT administrator, you can say, who has the complete access of creating the users and assigning the roles and everything. That person will be will have the access to create the user. So that person will create the user for Christopher, the employee Christopher. Okay, now first of all, Christopher is an employee of the business, okay, or employee of the organization. Therefore, he has to carry out certain employee-related activities. So, employee-related activities, what? Basically, he has to, which is more or more concerned with the activities as an employee, where he has to book his leaves if at all he's taking a leave. Similarly, if when payrolls are processed, he needs to check the salary details and everything. And there are many other employee specific activities as an employee, being an employee of the organization, he has to carry out. Therefore, a role called employee is available in Oracle that will be assigned to him, okay, after the user creation has been done. Okay, a role called employee, okay, we call it as abstract role. Okay, it will get assigned to the assigned to Christopher. So therefore, he will be able to carry out his tasks being an employee of the organization. Being an employee of the organization, the employee related tasks that he has to get, okay, which is majorly concerned with the HCM related activities, human capital or human resource related activities. So that is why employee as a role will be added to him. Then there will be certain other roles that will be added, which are specific to carry out his job. Okay, to carry out his job in the organization. What is his job? He is a general accountant. Okay, he is a accountant of the general finance department. Okay, so therefore, whatever task he has to perform, being a part of the general accounting, or general finance department, therefore he has to be provided with certain additional job roles that will enable him to carry out his task as a general accountant. Okay, so that is where basically general accountant's task is what? To create journal entries. Okay, similarly manage the journal entries, post the journal entries, review the journal entries, send the journal entries for approval. Okay, all those activities that he has to do with respect to the of his task being part of a general accounting department. Okay, similarly publish the financial report, finalize the financial statements and publish it. Okay, so all these are activities that he has to perform, being part of what? The general accounting department. Okay, so therefore he will be provided with the general accountant role and similarly the general accounting manager. So these are the roles that Oracle has within itself predefined. Okay, which ensures that all the tasks he has to perform, or an employee to whom this role is assigned has to perform, for them they can perform all the activities. So these two roles which you can see, general accountant and general accounting manager, these are the Oracle defined roles, job roles. Okay, job roles, the name also has the word called job roles, depending the role that is aligned with the job that is to be performed by the user. Okay, so the same thing, I will take a example from accounts payable perspective, so it will be more clear to you. Maybe people who are not aware of the general accounting or general finance department activities, they will be more familiar with the accounts payable as a function or accounts payable as a department. So an accounts payable, okay, in the accounts payable department, what are the activities that are to be performed? Let me take an Excel sheet to explain it so that it will be more clear to you. Okay, accounts payable as a department, accounts payable as a function, let's say, function in the organization. Okay, for that, the employees that are working in the accounts payable department are called accounts payable accountant. Right, in the business, in those department, there are accounts payable accountant or accounts payable supervisors or the managers of that particular department. These are the employees that you will see in the accounts payable department. So first of all, they being an employee of the organization, and they need to work on what? They need to work on the ERP. Therefore a user ID will be created for those users. Let's say Jenny as an example. Jenny is a accounts payable department employee. Okay, so therefore an ID, user ID, will be created for Jenny, first of all, so that she can get an access to the application. Then an employee role will be provided to her. Okay, okay, then a roles, what are the roles that will be provided to her? Job roles. Employee role will be provided to her, because she being an employee, she has to carry out her employee related activities, like the more mostly concerned with the HR related activities. Okay, so that is where employee as a role will be assigned to her. Then she is part of what? She is part of the accounts payable department. Therefore accounts payable accountant role. Okay, similarly the accounts payable manager role, okay, will be assigned to her, considering that she is also the manager of the accounts payable department, let's say, for example. Okay, so depending upon the activities or the role that a person performs in the respective function or the respective department, according to that, there are roles available in Oracle, the predefined roles, which give them access to what? Which give them access to perform the tasks of invoicing, okay, or let's say booking of supplier invoices, similarly booking of payments for the suppliers, suppliers, and many more activities related to the that are done as part of the accounts payable department. Okay, so these roles, basically the additional roles related to accounts payable that are predefined in Oracle, will have to be assigned to that particular user or the employee in that particular department, so that he or she can carry out the activities, okay, that are performed in that particular department. Now, what are the example of the activities? Like this case, booking of supplier invoice is an activity, right? Similarly, booking of payments is an activity. Okay, so therefore these are something that will be these are the functions, or these are the tasks which in turn that particular person will be able to perform, okay, once this role has been assigned to the user. Okay, so by that, first of all, they will get an access to the accounts payable module, and in turn will be able to perform the different tasks that are allowed under it. Okay, so that is where this role based security model works. Okay, now, these are some of the key roles that we will be looking at, okay, during our, as from a financial point of view or from a financial application point of view, these are some of the roles that you would come across, okay, wherever we are talking about the different application accesses that needs to be provided to the users. Okay, first of all, application implementation consultant. Okay, now what is this application implementation consultant? Basically, this particular job role, okay, is assigned to the functional consultants who are supposed to do what? Who are supposed to, configure the applications, okay, as well as, carry out what? Carry out the tasks. So first of all, in order to be able to configure the applications, this role is required. Okay, the examples that we saw, general accounting and accounts payable, that was more from a end user perspective. So end users are what? End users are people who are employees of the organization, who are part of certain departments, and then in turn, being part of those departments, they have to carry out their business, transactions. Okay, so though for them, the transactional related roles, these are all transactional related roles. But then being an employee again, but then being an administrator. So IT security, IT administrator or any other administrator, or similarly the functional consultants who are configuring, they also require certain roles. They also will be created as a user, and they also will be provided with certain roles that will give them the access of doing the setups. Okay, so that is where, in order to do the setup related activities, application implementation consultant role is to be assigned. So for us, since we are going to train on both the aspects, right? We are going to train on the setup related aspects, as well as we are going to be, doing the transaction processes or transaction related testings. So therefore, we will be given the access of both the application implementation consultant, which will give us the access to the setups that can be done, and also we will be needing all these roles, the general accounting, accounting manager, accounts payable, all these roles which help us to do the transactional activities. Okay, so for both will be required. Okay, so these all roles, I believe, is pretty clear from the name itself. So general accountant is for the general ledger application. Okay, general accounting manager again, so to perform certain managerial activities related to the general ledger application. Similarly, accounts payable, invoice supervisor, accounts payable, payment supervisor, accounts payable manager. These are the roles which will be required to first of all get the access of the accounts payable application, and then additionally be able to perform certain activities related to invoice. So invoice supervisor role will give access to perform the invoice related activities. Payment supervisor will provide the access to the tasks that are to be done with respect to the payment activities. Manager, so manager will be for a role that will be superior role, which will give them access to everything, invoicing as well as for payments, as well as for what certain other activities which are managerial activities, like the closing activities. So period closing, period opening activities. So in the accounting world, okay, the period management is a key aspect, because the financial data are finalized on a month basis, okay, year on year basis, right? The accountings, the balance sheet, the all the financial statements are published on a periodic basis, on a quarterly basis, on a 6 monthly basis, on a yearly basis. So that is where period management, okay, is a crucial concept when it comes in the finance and accounting stream. Okay, so therefore, generally the managers are the people who control the period activities. So therefore, there is an additional role created called payable manager. Okay, so managers will be provided with these roles. Okay, so that they get the access of the application and in turn be able to perform the manager related activities. Okay. Similarly, for accounts receivable, also you will have the roles. Accounts receivable specialist will take care of invoicing activities and the receipt related activities. Accounts receivable manager will specifically have additional accesses with respect to the period management activities. Okay, similarly, asset accounting manager, the same way. Asset accountant will be able to perform the activities in the fixed asset department. Okay, then the asset accounting manager will be able to perform certain other additional activities related to the managerial activity of period management. Okay, similarly, cash manager. So cash management manager is just one role that is available for the cash management module. Okay, there is no other roles that are predefined. So these all roles which we are seeing here are predefined roles. Okay, Oracle has predefined them in the application, and then in turn it is just that something that needs to be assigned to the user. Okay, just one moment. All right. There is one more role that you need to be aware of, that is the IT security manager. Okay, so IT security manager is basically a role that is assigned to the IT admin who actually needs the access to actually control these activities like creation of the user. Okay, similarly, assigning of the roles, all these are actually IT admin related activities, right? So for that person who is an IT admin, they need to have the role of IT security manager, which in turn gives them the access, okay, to actually create users in the application, as well as manage or assign or revoke the roles with respect to each of the users. Okay, so that is where the ID that I have right now with me, that is an IT administrator role. Okay, where to whom the IT security manager as a role has been assigned, and therefore my ID will be able to perform the activities of creation of the user. Okay, similarly, assigning of the roles, all those activities. Okay. Now, again, these are all what highly sensitive matters. Security administration is a highly sensitive matter. Okay, not all people will be provided with all roles in real life business. Okay, so that the respective tasks that are to be performed by the respective people should only be handled. Okay, they should not meddle with any other activities. IT security person should have access to the IT security manager role, and similarly application implementation consultant role, because he might have to work on certain setups of the application. So therefore he will be provided with those. He will not be provided with the general accounting or general accounting manager or accounts payable invoice supervisor. These are the roles that will not be provided to the IT security person. Why? Because he is not supposed to meddle with the transactions, the business transactions. And the vice versa, the accountants, the people who are working in the different departments, they will not be provided with the application implementation consultant role, because they are not supposed to meddle with the setups. Okay, similarly, they will not be provided the IT security manager role, because they are not supposed to have an access, to be able to create the users or assign the roles. Okay, so that is where the roles are all segregated. Okay, and then the respective people, who are the people who are responsible for what kind of activities and for what kind of application they need access, only those respective things should be provided. And that is the reason we call it infusion. It is a role based security model based on the job roles basically that are to be performed by each of the people, each of the users. The roles are created, which in turn needs to be assigned to the respective users who are supposed to have the access to those application and functions. Okay, so let's quickly have a look at how these things are done in the in the Fusion application. Before that, do you have any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, can you please go back to previous menu? Yeah. Here I can see that accounts payables manager. So for accounts payables manager role, can I
Mm.
access invoice creation, payment creation
Yes.
by any chance?
Sorry.
Like
Again on that question.
this is a roast model, right?
Yeah.
Fusion.
Yeah.
Uh, so accounts payables manager.
Uh,
For that role, can I access the invoice creation and payment creation
yes.
also?
Yes. Manager is supposed to have access to everything, right? Okay. So basically, you will be having the
Okay.
access to those if you assign the manager roles. But then, if it is not available for any reason, let's say, okay, then you can assign to that particular manager the accounts payable invoice, accounts payable payment supervisor roles as well, because manager is supposed to have access to everything, let's say. Okay, so therefore those additional roles also can
Including
be provided.
setups. Okay.
Setups will not be provided.
Okay.
The application implementation consultant
Okay.
role that actually controls the setup part, okay, that will not be provided. That will be provided to whom? The functional consultants. Okay, the people who are
Okay.
supposed to do the setups, only to them the application implementation role will be provided. Okay, now again, let's say a
Mm.
person is supposed to work on both general accounting as well as accounts payable department both. Then in that case, all the roles related to general accounting as well as the roles related to accounts payable will be provided to him. Okay, so both the application access he will have. Okay, so this is how the role security or role based security model works, and something that you need to understand with respect to the security administration point. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions before we move into the application? All right. So let me log into the application first. So my ID, okay, is basically a kind of super user which has all the accesses. Okay, because I need to train you people as well as I need to show how things work. So therefore, I have complete access. Okay, I have the IT security manager access. I have the application implementation consultant access. Similarly, I have the transactional job roles as well. Okay, because all things I need an access to. Therefore, okay, I will log into my application as an IT. Let's consider myself to be a IT security administrator. Okay, Chris.William. Okay, a person who has the IT security manager is the person who will be able to create users, okay, and also will be able to assign the roles. Okay, once that particular IT administrator, basically IT security manager application role is assigned to the user, that particular person will get a task called security console. Okay, so from where can he see that security console? In the navigator. So this is the navigator. Okay, scroll down to tools, and under tools there will be something called security console. Okay, so click the IT security manager will have access to this security console based on the role that has been provided to him. Okay, and then in turn this page will open up. When you click on security console, this is the page that will open up. Now, do you see here on the left hand side, there is something called roles and there is something called users. Okay, you click on users. Okay, that is the place from where you can create or manage a user related aspects. Okay, create a user or manage user related aspects. Okay, so in this user tab, you will find something called add user account. Okay, so you click on add user account. Okay, and you will mention the detail here as associated person information right now, whether it is a worker or whether it is a non-worker, that is a non-employee, that has to be selected. Okay, right now we will keep it as none because we are just creating one dummy user. Okay, dummy user we are creating. Okay, account information, whether it is active or logged, that will be, by default, it will be active right now because we are creating a new user. Okay. And user category, this is something which has got to do with the HCM, human capital management activities. So therefore, human capital related information is applicable here, but right now we will keep it as default. Okay, first name. So what is the name of that particular user? The first name that has to be provided. Okay, so let's take one example as Harris. Okay, is a person. Okay, and the name is Victor. Okay, so first name and the last name we have provided. Then the email ID of the person will have to be, employee will have to be provided. Why? Because in the organization, definitely each of these employees will be having a separate, organization email ID. So that has to be provided. Okay, and in turn, the username will be taken up. Now, email ID is mandatory. Therefore, right now, because we don't have this is a dummy, dummy user. So therefore, we will just provide some dummy value. Okay, XYZ ABC at the rate abc.com. Okay, let me just provide the email ID in such a manner. And the username, by default, email ID is something that will be defaulted on the username, but you can provide it separately also. Okay, so let me say Harris.Victor. That will be the username. Okay, that should be the username. And the password will be provided. Okay, let's provide the password. So password, any password as a has to be provided here. So password management is done here. Okay, so let me say welcome one. That is the password that is provided as a default password. The user themselves can change it later on. Okay, welcome one. So as an initial password, this is provided. Okay, and then save. Okay, so that user is created. Now you want to search the user. So this is the search pane under this user accounts. This is the search pane. Okay, and there are search criteria available. Do you want all users, active users, inactive users, logged users, unlogged users? What is it that you want to search? Do you want to search by username or email ID or last name or first name? How do you want to search it? And then here you need to provide the value. Okay, so I want to search by username. So I will say Harris dot Victor. That is the username that I created, right? So I'll provide it here and then search. Click on this search button. Okay, so here it is. This is a user ID that is created for the employee Harris Victor. Okay, status is active. And right now this person has not been provided any role. Okay, so that is where you will see when you open that particular user account. Okay, you will see this below. There is a section called roles. Okay, so under this role, you don't see anything. There is no role assigned to this particular employee because this is just created as a user. Now, let's take for example, this is a person that is supposed to work on what? The accounts payable department, and therefore he needs to have the accounts payable role assigned to him. Okay, similarly, he is also an employee of the organization. Therefore, he needs to be assigned the employee roles as well. So what we will do is we will edit this account now. Okay, click on edit. Okay, and we will add the required role. So there is this add role detail available here, right? So click on add role. Okay, and provide the search for the name of the role. So you need to be aware of the respective Oracle created role. Okay, there are custom roles also that can be defined. To that point I will come later on, but as a primary level of understanding, we are just trying to understand how the user and role thing works. Okay, so basically how to add it and all. So right now we will be taking into consideration only the Oracle predefined roles, the roles which are already defined by Oracle. Okay, just one moment. Okay. So let's take, for example, this particular user is or employee is part of what? First of all, he's an employee of the organization. Therefore, an employee role needs to be added. Okay. So let's enter this. Just the name of the role is employee. Okay. So when you just type the keywords, okay, employee, so you will get this role available here, or a per employee abstract. So this is called an abstract role. Okay, this is not why is it called an abstract role? Because it is not related to any function in the organization. Okay, so all those function related roles are called job roles, and non-function related business function related roles are called abstract roles. So one such role is the employee. Okay, so here we have this role, we select it, and once we select it, okay, then it appears here, and then below there is a button called add role membership. You click on add role membership. Okay, so if you look below, you see it has been added. Okay, similarly, I need to assign the role of accounts payable. Why? Because he's job role basically. Why? Because he has to perform his job or duty of being an accounts payable accountant. Okay, so therefore we will provide him the accounts payable related role. Let's say he's a manager and he has to take care of all the activities and he needs to have the full access. Therefore, we will give all the three roles. Okay, so we will type it as accounts payable. That is the name. Okay, that is the name that is defined in Oracle. Accounts payable, see, accounts payable invoice supervisor is here. Select that. Okay, that is selected. Then click on add role. Then we will then we will search for what? Accounts payable payment. Payment supervisor is here. So select that and add role membership. Similarly, we will do it for accounts payable. Type in here, okay, the keywords. Accounts payable manager. Okay, so here we have Aura AP accounts payable manager. Select that. Okay, and you can add the role membership. Okay, click on done. Okay, these two have been provided. Now this is a user, okay, who is not supposed to have access to what? Setup. So therefore the application implementation consultant role is not provided. Okay, only the employee related role and the accounts payable related roles have been provided. Okay, once that is done, save and close. Okay, so now the roles are also provided. Now do you see these details like this? You will see under the user there is these roles that are provided. Okay, click on done. So the user account creation and the role assignment, that is complete. Okay, so once these roles are assigned, the IT security manager has to run a particular program which actually refreshes the security in the application. Okay, just by assignment, many a times it doesn't work. Okay, so there is a refresh that needs to happen. So for that, basically a program is run. Okay, right now I will just run it quickly from my side. Okay, but then I will explain it later on. Okay, the significance of it, because time and again you will see the aspects around it. Okay, so right now let me run it. So I will run the program. Okay, from the navigator, I will go to schedule process. Okay, so in under tools, there is something called schedule process. Okay, and I need to run that particular program. Okay, I'll click on schedule new process and I will enter the name of the program is called retrieve LDAP changes. Okay, LDAP, retrieve latest LDAP. This is the complete program name. Okay, you just type in the keywords and you click on the tab button on your keyboard, so it will fetch up all the complete name of the program. And do you see what it is showing? Synchronizes user users roles and role grants with the definition in LDAP. So basically this program, it refreshes, okay, and synchronizes the security which you have assigned to the user and the role. Okay, you click on OK. and then you submit. Now these are all a bit of technical aspect. Okay, so that is where it will be a little hard to wrap your heads around it, but yes, with time you will understand these are the common practices that are done with respect to the security administration. Okay, so right now it is blocked, but yeah, it will because the program is already running, and once that program completes, the block will be removed and this will also complete and the status will show as successful. Okay, so this is the place where you see all the programs that you run, and the statuses of each of those programs you will be able to see. But right now, let's keep the focus limited to the process of assigning the security or managing the security related aspects. Okay, so we have created what? We have created the user. Okay, and all the other details, the user has been created, the roles have been assigned. Okay, now let's log into that user account. Okay, for that I will do what? I will open a different browser. Okay, a new browser I will open. Okay, maybe I will open it as incognito. Okay, because it doesn't allow in the same browser, it doesn't allow you to open with another ID. Okay, so I have opened as an incognito, or maybe you can change the browser as well. Okay, I will click on this URL. So basically this URL will be provided to the user. Okay, because this is the environment in which he has to log in. Okay, now that particular employee will get the user ID, right? Once you have created it, you will communicate that so and so user ID has been created and this is the default password with which you can log in. Okay, even in your corporate life also you might be receiving such kind of emails, or for that matter when you register on a new application. Okay, it gives you your user ID, and also it says that you will receive an email with your password and so and so. Okay, default password. So the same way that let's assume that that particular user would have received, and then he will try to log in. Okay, Harris.Victor is the user ID, and password is welcome1. That was the default password, right? So now he is able to log into the application. Okay, so this is the application that he is able to log in. You click on the home page, and the home page will come up. Okay, now if you look at the navigator, okay, do you see here something? Me, my team, my workforce. These are all coming up based on what? Based on the employee related role that has been assigned. Okay, by which he can perform multiple activities that needs to be done as part of an employee, like time and absence, and career and performance, personal information, pay, benefits. All these are employee related tasks. Okay, that he has to perform being part of the employee of the organization. Okay, so these are coming up based on these accesses. These accesses of the workbenches and functions are coming up based on what? Based on the role that has been assigned. Now payables, you can see payables here. Why this is coming up? Because payable role has been assigned to him. You might be asking me, fixed asset is also coming up, procurement is also coming up. Why is that so? Because but even though you look at the fixed asset, there is nothing coming up as part of the tasks or work areas that can be performed. Procurement, it is coming up because some of the activities, okay, are interlinked. I mentioned right in the demo session, beginning of the session, okay, demo session, that all the applications are to some or the other extents interlinked with each other. Okay, interlinked as in some of the tasks and activities are interlinked, because even that is how the business process works. Okay, none of the activities in business process works in isolation. Everything is interdependent on each other, and therefore the job rules that are created by Oracle also are in such a manner that if some of the interdependent activities are to be performed, then in that case the respective task access is required, and therefore they have included those in the roles that they have created. So accounts payable roles to some extent has some things related to the procurement as well. So you want to review the uh, let's say supplier details. Okay, so then in that case you will have to go to what? The procurement, and click on the suppliers, and you will be able to see the supplier information. You can search for the supplier information. Similarly, purchase order related you want to view, but yeah, this access will be limited. Okay, they will not be able to maybe edit or create new purchase orders or new requisitions. Okay, they might just be able to view the details, because it is required as a function to be performed as part of the payable job. Okay, so that is how these things, accesses, they get restricted based on the roles that are assigned. Now, for that matter, do you see anywhere the receivable related role? Do you see it? No. Why? Because that role, the respective role has not been assigned to this user. That is where you don't see anything related to the receivable. Fixed assets also, you are able to see the work area, but then you are not able to see anything, any activities that you can perform. It is just a training thing that you are able to see, but you are not able to see anything, any other workbenches under the fixed asset. Why? Because it is not a task that is accessible based on the payable. Okay, so this is how the role works. Now, since all the roles of payable has been assigned, you will have these work areas. Okay, invoice related activities that you can perform from the invoice workbench, payment related activities that you can perform from the payment workbench, and payable dashboards. So there are certain dashboards which will give you certain information. All these things definitely we will see in the later sessions when we take up these respective modules. But then I'm just explaining that these are appearing. Why? Because the role has been assigned to you. But then that's not the limit. Okay, that's not it. Just by getting a role, you won't be able to perform the activities. There is a third layer in the security administration which is called a data access. Which kind of data can the access be provided? So based on that access is an additional access which is required to finally carry out the business transactions. Okay, so that part we will come later on. First, let's understand the role based aspects. Okay, so based on the role that has been assigned, these are the tasks, or these are the sections that you can see from the navigator in which the activities can be performed. Okay. Now, under invoice also, just by looking at this invoice workbench, you don't, it is not just it. Okay, actually, there are many activities that you can perform with respect to the invoicing. So when you click on that, this invoice workbench opens up and there is this task list. Okay, so this is called the task list, something like the symbol of a calendar. Okay, basically, this is where you will be able to see all the tasks that can be performed. Invoice related tasks: create invoice from spreadsheet, manage invoices, apply missing conversion rates, validate invoice, initiate invoice approvals, import invoices. Okay, like similarly, run the accounting for the invoices. Okay, so these are all the activities that has to be performed as part of the accounts payable invoice activities. Okay, so that is where you can see all these things available in the task list. Okay, so now these are all coming up based on what? Based on the roles that have been assigned. Okay, manage accounting periods, you can see here, because the manager role has been provided. Okay, if the manager role was not provided, just the invoice supervisor or invoice payment supervisor role was provided, then you will be able to see the manage accounting periods. Then within that manage accounting period, you will not be able to carry out any activity like opening the period or closing the period. You will not be able to do. Why? Because that is a task only provided along with what? That is a privilege, you can say, only provided with the manager role. Okay, all right. So here we have learned how to assign the roles, how to create the user, and how to assign the roles as part of the security administration. Okay, in your case, you will be provided with what? You will be provided additionally over and above the transactional roles. You will be provided with an additional role, that is the application implementation consultant role. Why? Because you need to perform the setup related tasks. So because we will have to set up each of the application before we can use the transaction, or before we can perform the transaction. Okay, so that is where, let me go back to my ID. Okay, I will again go to security console and show you what are the roles that have been assigned to my ID. Okay, so from the navigator, I'll go to tools. So again, this is the navigator. We will scroll down and come up till tools, click on tools, and all these things will open up. And under tools, we need to click on security console. Okay, and we will click on user. Okay, and here I will search for my user ID. Okay, Chris.William. Okay, click on it. and it will open up. And do you see here? These are all the roles available. So these are all the transactional roles. And on top of that, do you see here application implementation consultant role? Okay. And similarly, you will even see IT security manager role. Because of IT security manager, I'm able to click on security console and manage all these security related aspects for other users. Okay. So that is where you are seeing this security console. You get the access based on IT security manager role. Okay. Similarly, the application implementation consultant role will give you access to what? The settings and setup and maintenance part. So the setup and maintenance icon or the task is available under this list because of the application implementation consultant role. Okay, so now if this role has not been assigned to Harris Victor, right? So if you go to his role, his login, so this is his login, Harris Victor. Okay, so if you click on the settings and actions, do you see setup and maintenance anywhere? No. Why? Because he has not been assigned the application implementation consultant role. And that is the reason he doesn't have access to the setup and maintenance. So this is how the security is governed, okay, in the application. And now we have discussed about what? Two of the aspects, the who part and the what access part. Okay, what all functional access part we have discussed. Okay, as a concept, and also we have seen how it can be done in the application. Now we need to understand further. So job role is what? Job role assignment part we have understood, but then how a job role is constituted, what are the subcomponents within a job role, what are the segregated things or components within a job role, that we will understand tomorrow. Okay, and then apart after that we will understand the third question of data security, how the data security is assigned, or how the data security can be assigned to the users. Those things we will discuss at length in tomorrow's session. Okay, so keep your focus on the very aspects of the security administration, that too specifically with respect to what we have discussed around the user and around the job role assignment. Okay, just keep it confined to those aspects, don't go haywire. Okay, because if we try to think around it, it is quite complex and you will start to get confused. So just keep the focus on these aspects which we have discussed. All right, just give me 1 minute, don't leave. So to just one more thing that I would like to highlight, okay, specifically today is the last day when you will get a free access to the sessions. Tomorrow onwards, only people who have enrolled themselves will get an access. Just one moment. So it is quite important that you confirm your enrollments, okay, today itself. Okay, confirm your enrollments if you are satisfied with the sessions that we have conducted until now, and you want to pursue again with this or go further with this course of the Oracle Fusion Financial Trainings. Please confirm your enrollments, get in touch with Kumar and do the necessary payments, whatever Kumar mentions to you. Okay, do it and confirm it, and then tomorrow onwards only those people who have confirmed their enrollments will be allowed to enter the session. And the second thing is the accesses, the recordings. First of all, the daily recordings related accesses will be provided only once you confirm your enrollments. And the third thing is the instance details, okay, where you can practice out these aspects, that will be provided to you along with the user ID and password only once you.
So how often application will be refreshed?
This is a stable environment, the one that we will be providing. So we will provide you with the stable environment as well as the unstable environment, as means the one that is a temporary environment. Okay, both will be provided.
Can you like show me where what is the latest version? How to find the latest version from the applications?
That we had already discussed, but yeah, I will show you again. So in the settings and
whether it is a latest one or
this is the
old
latest
one.
one. This is the latest one. Yeah, because again, the application versions and everything, the upgrades and everything is controlled by Oracle. Okay, so it is
Yeah.
every quarter
No,
actually they
every quarter it has to be new versions will come up,
yes,
right? So,
yes, yes.
okay.
Automatically that will be coming up. We don't, or business doesn't have to do anything. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so here you can see under this settings and actions about this
About
application
these
is there,
applications.
and here you will see 23B 2023
Yeah.
second quarter is the version that was released.
Okay.
Okay, in the month of April. This is the this stands for the month.
Yeah. Got it.
Okay,
Actually, in the chat, I have asked her to like provide the payment method details, but they are
I think you
asking
should.
multiple times to share the WhatsApp number and email ID.
Yeah, they will get in touch with you today. Okay,
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
sure. Okay, all right. Others, please get in touch with Kumar. Okay, drop your messages or email IDs to him on the WhatsApp, and he'll get back to you with all the details. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. I hope there is no other question. If at all, if we can discuss it now. Do you have any more questions? Okay. If not,
Thank you.
that's it. That's it for today, guys. Thank you and have a good day. We'll catch